Sweet friend. I wanted to share something with you today. So, for the longest time, one of my least favorite characters in the Bible was the Proverbs 31 woman. She was just so perfect and having all these high standards that I felt like I could never live up to. Now, I know there's been a lot of debates, a lot of books, a lot of conversations regarding the Proverbs 31 woman. But as a full-time working mom, I want to share with you kind of my perspective, how God kind of changed my heart regarding the Proverbs 31 woman and the framework that I've created based on the lessons that I've learned from the Proverbs 31 woman. My prayer is that it will give you a fresh perspective as well. And I want to share with you the framework for how to prioritize and how to get yourself out of overwhelm. If you're currently feeling like you're stretched too thin, if you're currently constantly saying things like, I have no time, I feel so exhausted and tired, I'm always rushing, I feel like my day's just putting out fires, then I hope that this training in this video will be helpful to you. So grab your notebook and a warm drink and let's dive in. So the Proverbs 31 woman, if you haven't read it before, I'm sure you have, but it's kind of a day in the life of this woman, the ideal woman. And it talks about how she goes about her day, how she interacts with her children and the people that she works for, the people who work for her, what she does for work, her relationship with her husband. And the pinnacle, the highlight, the reason she can do all this is because she has a strong faith. And that is something that cannot get lost or overlooked regarding the Proverbs 31 woman. The reason she's able to do so much is because of her connection to God and the time that she spends honoring him and time that she spends with him. So I want to share with you, after avoiding the Proverbs 31 woman for such a long time, I decided to pay more attention to her. And this is what I found out. When you read the Proverbs 31 woman, there's like a framework that I noticed in there on what we should be paying our attention and focus to. I call it the rich framework. And rich has nothing to do with things or stuff or money. It actually is so much deeper than that. When I say rich, I am referring to the things that we should be making time for. And we have a rich life when we make time for these things. And here are the 4 things that I believe we should all make time for as busy working moms and let the rest go. So the rich framework is this. R is for relationships. That's our relationship with God, with our spouse, and with our kids. I is for individual self. We have to make time for ourselves, time for our physical, our spiritual, and our mental well-being. That can look like, making time to do a 20-minute workout or making sure we're hydrated. So much problems is caused by us being dehydrated and we don't even know it. The C in rich is for career, tending to and growing the career that God has given us, and blooming where we have been planted. And finally, the H in the rich framework is our home. That is creating simple systems to make our homes run smoothly so that it can be a place of joy and a place of peace. So when I really noticed this framework, inspired by the Proverbs 31 woman, it really changed a lot for me because I was doing so much and I feel like I was running around doing all the things and yet getting nothing done and feeling so exhausted at the end of the day. I have learned that when I prioritize these 4 things, my relationships, myself, my career, and my home, it really brings me to a place of peace and a place of calm. Now, I know that it's not easy to implement all of these things all at once, and you're not supposed to. This is a journey to more joy and a journey to more peace that you can do over time. So where do we start? The first step is to really commit to spending more time with God and in His Word. This looks like 10 or 15 minutes each day that you wake up just a little bit earlier than your family for some quiet and devotional time. Now, if you're already doing that, that is wonderful. If you're doing that and you still feel like you are out of sorts and out of balance, I just want to share with you what God shared with me in my season of overwhelm, because I felt the same way. And he said to me, I know that you're praying, but you need to pray with all your heart. So for some of us, we're doing lip service, and it's so easy to like make prayer kind of autopilot and just kind of something that we check off of our to-do list. I've been in those seasons as well, when it's just one more thing that I have to do. But God wants nothing from us, and he wants everything from us. And what I mean is that God is after our heart. We don't have to impress him or try to do things to please him. He said he already loves us, and he is already deeply in love with us and cares for us. All he wants is our heart. And he wants us to pray with our entire heart, trusting him, surrendering to him, giving him everything that we have. And he will give it back to us tenfold. So the first thing is to really commit to prayer, and not just prayer, but prayer with all your heart, prayer using God's words, prayer that is intimate, and really form a relationship with your Father who loves you and cares for you. The next step is to really commit to your marriage and the relationship with your spouse. Now, there was a time when I was so overwhelmed that the last thing I wanted to do was to be kind to my spouse, especially when so many of us feel like our spouse is not pulling his weight around the house. But God really changed my heart on this. And I committed to praying for my husband every day. And of course, I was praying that God would change him. And I said, God, please help him to be more, to help out more, and all these things that I was requesting and asking God to change in my husband. And God does have a sense of humor, because what ended up changing was not my husband, who is wonderful and awesome and who I respect and love deeply, but God changed my heart. He made me more patient. He made me give grace more understanding, and more joyful. He didn't change my husband too much, but he changed me. And with that change came so much change in our relationship as well. I no longer wanted to point out his flaws, no longer wanted to complain about what he wasn't doing. Instead, I held my tongue when I felt like I was going to be critical, and I made it a point of respecting him in front of my children, our children, so that they can see that as well. And just respecting him and recognizing his role as the head of the household really transformed our relationship, our marriage, and our home. That has been such a significant change. And so if you're struggling right now and you feel overwhelmed, first pay attention to your relationship with God, and then your relationship with your spouse. Is there anything that you can do today to delight your husband? Anything you can do to be kind to him? Maybe send him a quick text in the middle of the day just to let him know that you're thinking about him. Time together is so important. So one thing my husband and I started doing was going to bed at the same time. Now, at first, I did not like this, because I when the kids went to bed, I wanted my quiet time as well. But I found that this was so important to our relationship, and it was so important to him. So if it was important to him, then it should be important to me as well. And I tell you, those times that we're just hanging out, talking about the craziness of our day, beats any date night every time. We actually don't do date nights too often, and we find different ways to connect throughout the day, even if it's just a walk or a quick text during the busy work day. So my point is, really try to respect and honor your marriage. And I believe that is what God wants us to do. And then the third thing is spend time with your kids. And time with your kids can look like 10 minutes of one-on-one time with each of your kids each day. It could be each day, every other day. Just commit to intentional time with them, where you have set aside to just look them in the eye and let them know that you see them, and be fully present to where they are. Next is your home. And the home is really, it's a big thing. I read somewhere that working women are more stressed out or more stressed out at home than they are at work. And that really hit me. And home should be a place that is calm, a place that we go to refresh and renew ourselves, not a place where we go for more stress. And so I want you to really look at the way things are being run in your home, and see if you can create some simple systems that can make your life easier. By simple systems, I mean like a system for your laundry. There was a time when I felt like I was always behind on laundry. The kids would ask if they had any clean clothes, and I would run to the laundry room to see if I had actually put a load in, and they wouldn't have any clean clothes. um, and so I implemented a system, and my system that worked for me is to do a load every single day. And that just made it easier. It's something that I didn't forget because I just did it every day. And I also taught my kids how to do their own laundry. So then it's off my plate and they're responsible for that. So what kind of system can you implement in your own home? Is it dinner time that's really stressful for you? Think of one area that if you had a system for it, would make your life feel so much easier and would give you a little bit of breathing room as well. So your home should be a place that is calm, that is peaceful, and a place that you really just you can't wait to get home to your family, and also just a place that you can relax. And then finally, your career. Now, for many of us, our career is kind of the source of where we see our value and kind of success for us. But I have to tell you, success that is at the cost of your health or your relationship is no success at all. And so we have to look at our career as just a part of our lives, not the full, not the whole. And for some of us, our careers are so busy and so consuming that it takes over our lives, leaving no room for anything else. And so I just want to encourage you to give your career the place that deserves, because it is important. That is where God has placed you. But don't let it overshadow your entire life and take it easy and take everything from you. And that can look like setting boundaries about your work hours and when you're going to leave. And listen, as a recovering people pleaser and perfectionist, boundaries is so hard. It's so hard for me because I want to be liked, to be completely honest. I want to be seen as being able to do my job and do it well, as being a team player, as going above and beyond. But I also know that my work, as important and as beautiful and as much as I love it and enjoy it, if I were gone tomorrow, they would have a replacement for me in a week or two. But if I'm gone tomorrow from my home, no one can replace me here, and no one can replace you in your home. And so while your career is so important to you and the financial blessings that it provides, you have to still steward your time well and make sure that you are paying attention and focusing on the areas that God wants us to focus on. For me, I believe that is our relationship with Him, our marriage, our kids, our home. And when those are in place, we really feel more fulfilled and more peaceful. So there you have it. I know that was a lot of information. I hope that it has been helpful to you, insightful to you, a little change of perspective. I hope that it fires you up and make you realize that you are exactly where God wants you to be. And if He has placed you there, my friend, He will sustain you. So I'll share a quick story before I wrap up. But there was a time when I was super overwhelmed, as I mentioned, and exhausted. I felt like I was drowning. I honestly fantasize about running away to a deserted island just by myself, not for a long time, but at least until the kids got older. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever felt that way, but it was just chaotic and messy and hectic. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And then slowly, God took me out of that season. And, with certain things happening, and he was always working in the background, just like how he's working in the background in your life. And then slowly I was able to get out of that. I learned some tools. And leaned on his word, of course, and he gave me wisdom and insight on how to do it. And when I was out of that season, there was a time I was thanking him for just helping me to get through it. And my heart was just full of so much gratitude for his blessing and where he has taken me and how he had done it. And I was just so grateful. And I clearly heard him say, teach it to my daughters. My working daughters are overwhelmed. He said they're exhausted. They have turned away from me because they're so busy. And he's like, bring them back to me. And so I truly believe that I have been called to bring working moms back to the basics, back to God, have them focus on their marriage, on their kids, on their home, and yes, on their careers as well. So that is my role. That is what I have been tasked with, to share that if things feel impossible, then that's good, because God works in the realm of the impossible. And if you're overwhelmed with juggling motherhood and career and everything in between, I want you to know, sweet friend, that there is hope, that there is a way out that doesn't involve tracking your time. You don't have to listen to all the podcasts or read the self-help books or the productivity books or books about time management. It's all in his word. And he's provided a roadmap for us, for his daughters who love him and his daughters who want to create a life that is joyful and peaceful with him at the center. That sounds like you. I would love to help you. I'm offering a free discovery call. And during this call, we will map out we will look at one area of your life that is causing you the biggest stress. We'll look at one goal that you want to accomplish, and then we'll create a plan together on how you want to get there. This might look like letting some things go. It might look like setting boundaries in some areas. It might look like delegating. It might look like asking for help. But you can have this plan that you can implement right away. You can take it and run with it and feel like you've gotten some time back, some peace back, and some of your joy back, because you deserve it. And that's the life that God wants you to live. So God wants you to live an abundant and rich life where you can honor your relationships, your individual self, your career, and your home. I can't wait to chat with you. Click the link below. I hope this has been helpful, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.